That's okay, but you know, if the paint is still wet, it's going to mess it up, so I'm just being a bit careful now. The final leaves will only come in at the end when the roses are dry. So I can see if I want leaves going over the roses, which roses I want to cover and so on. And this also helps you to reduce the size of the roses where they've gotten too big, like in this one. And then you can also have petals as they're going into the distance, they become lost petals. You don't have to see the end or the definition of each petal. It's a common mistake I often make, that I define things too carefully. And in reality, when you look at a vase, you don't always see that definition. By just picking up a little bit of each colour and adding it where I felt it was justified. Okay, it's just a feeling. I felt that some of the flowers were just too bland, but I didn't do all of them. And I've come back today with fresh eyes, but my eyes are no fresher than they were yesterday. They're just as fuzzy, so I'm struggling, but I'm going to carry on. So like this one, I added some pink yesterday. But really, it's meant to be a white rose, so I still need to add the white. So, but maybe that pink will show through, because what I'm doing is I'm just going over basically where I was before. Now, I tell you about my eyes not because I want sympathy, but just so that if you see something that looks obvious to you and it's not obvious to me, it's because maybe I just am not seeing it. And so if you get frustrated, I'm sorry, but it's just, okay. That's okay, and there's a bit of the pink showing, but it wasn't what I originally wanted. This one came on perfectly. Those lines were very clear, the white, even though it wasn't very bright white, but it was very clear. I hadn't added any highlights in there. So now there's just a peachy looking, pinky, golden colour in there. They're kind of golden white roses. So there's another one that needs to be white. And I won't put you through the torture of watching all of it, but just like this one, I want it to be a bud that is just beginning to open and kind of wraps around the other side. And wraps around a bit more. And then I'll need to bring it down a bit, like that. So what I also did yesterday was I took a dry brush and I just went over these little bits that stick up to smooth them out. Yeah, they all look smooth. Now this one's gone a little bit too brownish. Well, actually, I think I put a lot of green in there. So we'll just do it in a part like that, which is just opening. And sometimes the petals curve into each other. Sometimes they go around each other. And so I'll continue until I've completed all of the roses, and then I will add in the leaves. to just, complete the look of the bouquet and make it sort of fan out a bit on the side of it more. And also just to add a little bit of variation in the colours of the leaves. I have put red in the leaves, but still I've only used sap green, white and red, magenta. So I'm going to add another green shade and see what difference that makes. Well, I've completed adding the highlights where I thought they were needed and adding brighter colour on the whites where I thought was needed. And then I decided to use the extra green that I added. It's a viridian green, and I mixed it with a little white and a little sap green, and it came out way too bluish for me. So I'm mixing a lot more sap green with it now to tone it down. I mean, I do believe in colour. I love colour, all different colours. But sometimes when you have a specific mood for a painting, if you add in another colour that's not there, it can just be jarring. And I felt that was the case with this colour. So it just doesn't go. This is a really lovely soft painting, pastel shades, and that's how I want it to stay. So I'm adding one there, oh, it came out too thick. So I'm not going to spread these over the roses because the roses are all still wet. And I don't want to ruin that colour, which I've just perfected. I mean, one can overwork roses. It's very easy to keep adding and to keep highlighting and to keep thinking this can be better, but sometimes it is better to just say, okay, this is enough now, because you can ruin it. So sometimes you get just little extra leaves in a bouquet, and they don't have to be rose leaves, they can be any leaves. So I'll carry on adding and I'll bring you back at the end. This is the finished painting. I added a lot more highlights of white and some yellow highlights, and that one rose is a bit faded, sort of obscured. More highlights here and there, more white. I added a bit more white here. I must say I took a lot of white to make this white bright. I added a bit more white there, and then I added a lot more leaves. Probably not as many as I wanted to, but I don't want to drag the colour over the flowers. So what I did, I think this bunch over here made a difference, and then I fixed up the vase, which I wasn't happy with. It looked a bit slew to me, I think. I don't know. I'm wondering if this shouldn't know what this is. It's just where the colour's faded there. So I'm happy with it. I love the colour combination actually. I think it's just so